Hey, Yetis, this is Nick and Jack from the Best One Yet podcast. Now, the last company we worked at, they used Paylocity and everything just worked. It wasn't until launching our own media business, this show, that we realized how rare that is.
Because Paylocity is one delicious burrito of operational needs. They roll up HR, finance, and IT seamlessly into one delicious bite.
When everything wraps together like that all at once, your workforce, your tech stack, your business, you don't need more tools. You don't even need cilantro.
You need one solution.
And that is why Paylocity built a single platform to connect HR, finance, and IT with AI-driven insights and automated workflows that simplify the complex and power what's next.
Or as we call it, a delicious operational burrito.
Yes, we do. Experience a one place for all your HCM needs, besties.
So start now at Paylocity.com/one.
Paylocity.com/ONE.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Are your ad campaigns lighting up the dashboard, but not the pipeline? That's bull spend, and marketers are calling it out in Dashboard Confessions.
My boss asked for results, so I opened my dashboard for the only positive-sounding metric I had, impressions.
Cut the bull spend. See revenue, not just reach. LinkedIn delivers the highest return on ad spend of major ad networks. Advertise on LinkedIn. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a $250 credit. Go to linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome to Tech Magic. I am your host, Cathy Hackl. This is the podcast where we talk about everything happening in technology, gaming, innovation, AI, and everything in between. It's been a very busy couple of weeks with tech news, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, Lee Kebler. Lee, how you doing?
I'm good. It's been a wild week, just stuff everywhere. This was probably one of the crazier weeks that we've had at our house. We had a really interesting thing happen, but I'll tell you about that in a little bit.
You'll tell me. Well, my last couple of days have been amazing. Like I said in the last episode, White House Correspondents' Dinner weekend in D.C. It's the weekend to be in the D.C. area where all the A-listers came. I got invited to the UTA party. UTA is the agency that represents me, and they throw this big bash. I also got invited to an event from the Female Quotient, but the UTA party was literally like Bill Nye, John Quinones. You had all sorts of celebrities. Rosario Dawson was in town. Scarlett Johansson, her husband Colin Jost was hosting the dinner. I mean, all the politicians were here. It was crazy. It was so amazing. Lots of celebrities, Kim K, a lot of people, people that you might see go through DC for some reason, but they're all together in the same place. And that UTA party was fire. It was amazing. So lots of fun, lots of talk though. I got to talk to a lot of journalists, right? I talked to some folks from The Hill and Politico, even News Nation. I was talking to a lot of different types of journalists. And they were, one of the things that when I told them, hey, I work in tech and gaming, they were either asking me about gaming, because one of them was a gamer and was really into Fallout, or they would ask me about AI. So that was one of the big things, the conversations. And then I did have some conversations about TikTok. It was obviously talk of the town in some ways.
Well, yeah, that's top of the list, right? Because TikTok, for those who have been, living under a rock, all of the necessary laws have passed to basically say you have to sell to a US-based company or you're out of here. Now, surprisingly enough, their response was, no, you. They just basically said, we're not going to sell. I don't know if their goal is to see what happens and if there's actually teeth behind the law. I don't really know what ByteDance's play is here, because the law's passed. It made it through a very divided Congress. It flew through the Senate, and then it was signed by the president. This isn't necessarily a thing. I thought this isn't a thing you get to argue about, but their answer was, no, we're not going to sell. We have no plans on selling. This isn't like a lawsuit. I don't think you get to appeal this.
You don't get to appeal this, right? Even if they take it to court, right, for what they're saying, First Amendment, it's still this has been passed. You can't really debate this. what I did here is like the idea and the concept that they might not sell or they might sell without the algorithm, which then would make, what's the point of TikTok then? I mean, that's the...
Well, the law specifically like says the transfer of the algorithm. Like they didn't screw this up. Now, it was a weird way that it was passed. It was passed within the spending for like, I think the Ukraine and the Israeli budget, all of that stuff that's going on. So it's kind of weird that how it was slipped in to a bill that it wasn't directly related to, but it made it.
It was smart. I'm sorry. That was a smart move.
Yeah, it was. It got it through. It'll be very interesting to see the next couple of months as they, I guess, say no. I really don't know what happens in this scenario.
Well, we'll keep our eyes on it and then definitely, bring it to the pod to talk about it a little bit more. But before we get going, like, you have me like here. What's the mystery? What happened to your house?
No, nothing happened at the house is what didn't happen at the house. Okay, so technology sometimes rolls out and you don't really think about it until you're like, holy crap, I'm so glad that this exists. And I had one of those moments this weekend. So my wife is out of town. She was visiting her family in Omaha, Nebraska. That whole area got pummeled by tornadoes for those who weren't paying attention to the news. And so I'm getting pretty frantic calls and text messages from my wife from the airport the day that the tornadoes were coming through. And I was just like, I guess you get on the plane and you go. And so they board the plane and the plane goes onto the runway and starts to take off. And then a tornado hits the airport. She was like on the last plane.
Oh
like she took off on that plane, past that tornado and off into the wild blue yonder. And I don't know what's going on, right? Like I have no idea all I see is like planes departed and then news is saying, and a tornado is hitting the airport.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm having a little bit of a moment, and I've never been so thankful for iMessage on a Southwest flight in my entire life.
Amen. Yeah.
The second she came back online and was above, 10,000 feet where they let you do that? Holy crap. It's one of those things you don't even realize. Like we both came up in the generation of you turn all your electronics off until like you land, right? Like you just didn't have electronics when you flew when I was younger. I mean, when I remember like smoking sections on airplanes, but like whatever.
You remember when Pan Am and Eastern existed, like back in the day as a kid.
And so it was one of those things where it was like, as soon as I got the text message that she was like able to turn her phone back on, I was able to breathe that sigh of relief. And it was just, and at that point, I realized how much we take for granted, like how mobile our technology and ability to communicate actually is. So that was my weekend. And then it's just like the news is just showing the airport and like, thankfully no one was hurt, but it just ripped through the airliners, like the hangars and like there were like airplanes that scattered all over. It was devastating. And I'm sitting here going, my wife's on an airplane at this airport. What has happened?
Is she okay? What's going on? Oh my gosh. And guys, I mean, everyone's listening to the pod. Like I like his wife more than I like Lee. Like
she's
I would have
way
been
more
really
likable
sad
than
too
me.
if anything were to happen. But I'm glad she's fine. I'm glad she's home and she's fine.
Everyone's totally safe. Everyone's fine. But it was just one of those moments.
What was it, like 20 minutes? You didn't hear from her? Like, that's scary.
It was actually way sooner. I think they had to go up real stinking quick. Like when she tells the story, they got in, they sat down, they took off, and they had to go fast. And so they hit like 10,000 feet real fast. I mean, it was like maybe 10 minutes.
Supersonic almost. Not quite, right? Because I can't do that. But
yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy. So I'm glad she's home safe.
Yeah.
And I'm glad iMessage exists.
And you can use it from an airplane. Like, that's just wild.
That's crazy. So talking about technology that we're thankful for in some ways, I want us to start with the first story around Walmart bringing physical world commerce into Roblox. First of all, congratulations to the team at Walmart. Justin Breton, our good friend there, has been leading the charge with Roblox for a long time. So for folks to kind of understand a little bit of the background, when I created my initial consulting company, Walmart was one of my first clients, and I was their Metaverse advisor in residence, working with them on gaming strategies, Metaverse stuff, of course, but also thinking through new ways of commerce, right? And obviously, I can't go into a lot of what we did, but what you're seeing now, the culmination of years of work of people that are very passionate that have worked with Walmart or at Walmart. And then, this is like a big, big moment. And Lee, obviously, you can tell a little bit about what your role has been as well in the relationship with Walmart.
The first iteration of Walmart being on Roblox was a team that I oversaw, and it was fun and difficult and challenging, and it really pushed the boundaries of what the platform could do. So to see this grow, and what they've announced today, and this has been the accumulation of years of work. This is what everyone kind of set off to do in the beginning. How do you realize the in-game digital things that people might purchase and collect for their avatar in the real world, right? That had been a gap that no one had really filled. And so for them to be able to cross that finish line and do this, I think is huge. And so, yeah, big congratulations out to them. Effectively, they'll have in-store items in the real world that match the virtual items in Roblox, and they're connected. So it is that one-to-one, have one in the real world, have one in Roblox, and therefore you have, an item that your avatar also has. That's big. I'm sure we're going to get more information as it rolls out, but yeah, big congratulations and hats off to them.
I don't think people realize how important this is in the moment of the future of commerce and merging physical and digital. I wrote an article back in 2022 on new commerce models, right? And explained that the commerce models we currently have, physical, we all know how to do physical, commerce. We all do it. Digital brought connected physical into the internet, all those sorts of things. There's been a virtual to virtual commerce that has been happening in gaming for a long time. The new frontiers are virtual to physical, physical to virtual. And this is one of those steps. I mean, there's been other tests done, like Amazon had Amazon Anywhere. Walmart had done some things with some mobile games, maybe not as big as Roblox. But this is, in my perspective, part of the future of commerce. People better pay attention because the younger generation, the Gen Alpha kids, are all spending their money on these platforms, right? As we've spoken many, many a time in this podcast. And that's a way that they're going to continue to spend their money, and they're going to start to buy those physical things, right? And it's going to be the other way around. They'll be in a physical store, buy something that they can have a virtual twin of in their Adopt Me house or what have you. So this is only going to continue to expand, especially as gaming continues to become more and more important. So yeah, watch out, world. I mean, if e-commerce changed things, things are about to change again. And if you're not understanding what's happening, you better catch up.
Yeah, and it's interesting that Gen Alpha and Gen Z actually have a really positive viewpoint of Walmart. And so they've got a good demographic. They've done a lot of research into this. They make sure that it is not over the top. It's still fun, right? And I've just been super impressed with the design and everything that they've been doing.
What's the name of the new world?
Walmart Discover.
And Sawhorse did that world. Nick Hill, who was on the podcast earlier this year and spoke about it.
Beautiful work too.
Oh yeah, it's gorgeous.
Really, Sawhorse as a studio makes amazing looking digital landscapes, and their art in all of their worlds that they've done has been super impressive. So just really happy for the team here.
Big shout out to Sawhorse, Geek as well, who's worked with Walmart on kind of rethinking how to create this. And then, yeah, the Walmart team, congratulations. I mean, I am thrilled to see this. I feel like it's part of, it's part of our path. And we were part of being able to kind of take them on that journey. So yeah, y'all, commerce is about to get really interesting. All right. So now let's head to more stories. And obviously, now that we've talked about gaming and future of commerce, let's talk about AI, because it seems like...
do we have to?
Yeah, we do. We do. Couple of things along the lines of retail and AI and some of the things that are going on. Aldi, the retail, it's a grocery store chain, I guess you would call it, a value grocery store chain that's across the US and other parts.
It is the antithesis of Whole Foods, right? And that's what's so interesting about this story.
Right? Yeah. Yin and yang.
Very much is. So those who are unaware, Whole Foods is owned by Amazon. And, Amazon had this whole experimentation of just what I think they called it grab and go or something like that. It was where you could just take something, you pick something up and you walk out the store with it and you would get billed for it and you didn't have to go to the checkout line. And then recently, and I'm talking 1-2 episodes ago, we talked about this. It was not that long ago. It was within the month. Amazon announces JK, we're not doing this anymore. And by the way, we didn't actually have AI doing it. It was just basically loads of people in a call center that were monitoring and doing all of this.
Yeah.
And now Aldi is stepping up to the plate and saying, well, if they're not going to do it, we're going to do it. Now, we don't have an Aldi in Portland. We don't have an Aldi in the Northwest.
We definitely have it on the East Coast. Like there's plenty of Aldi's.
Yeah. And they have it in California. California has Aldi's.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, there's quite a few. But up here, no, we don't have them.
So they announced a massive change to their already famous checkout policy. They are going to use computer vision so customers can scan and go with their items.
Do you like this idea?
I personally don't shop there much.
No. Forget that. Forget that.
Okay, forget that. Forget my personal sentiment.
As experientially,
I don't mind it. I like the convenience of it.
you have to download another app. You got to log into something. It's QR codes.
I don't mind it. Like I've done that like at other stores where, you've had the app and you scan stuff and then you pay and you go. I don't mind it.
I kind of hate this.
You know what? Here it is. I'd rather do that. Like if I'm scanning with my phone and I can go and I don't have to do the checkout in the express checkout where it's self-checkout or whatever, where you're like beep, beep, beep.
Oh, I hate self-checkout too.
I hate self-checkout. So I'm down for this if I don't have to do self-checkout because I still want to talk to my cashier. Like, I guess I'm very old school in that sense. I still like going through that line.
Yeah, me too. This is my old man yells at clouds. Like, I hate this. Everything about it bothers me. I think it'll probably be the thing that does work and does take over. That doesn't mean I have to like it. But like, you ever go grocery shopping, you fill up your cart and you look at your cart and you're like, I bought a lot of vegetables and fruit and I don't want to have to go through like the searching scan thing. And so you start looking for the checkout line with an actual human being because like they can do it way faster than you can.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like this is going to be a nightmare. Either that or all of our apples are just going to be covered in QR codes. And I don't like that either. I don't like having to peel the stickers off the apples. It's just not my thing. Those things are so hard to peel off. I hate this idea.
You hate it. Okay.
I
don't know. Let's see if people actually like it. So that's one, related to retail and using AI, in this case, computer vision. Another AI piece of news, and this is related to
I got lots to say about this.
Oh, I know you do, because this is like right up your alley. But Tupac's estate has threatened to sue Drake for deepfaking dead rapper's voice during a song that he released 2 weeks ago, was he going after Kendrick Lamar? I can't remember who he was going after. Big song that he released and this kind of beef with Kendrick Lamar, and he used a deepfake Tupac voice. They used also deepfake Snoop. And Snoop was hilarious in his reaction. Yeah, I don't think he was pursuing any type of legal thing. He was just like...
I have a feeling Snoop woke up just like high and was like, when did I record this?
When did I record this? Why is my phone blowing up? And like, when did I do this with Drake? But yeah, I think a question I'm going to ask you, and I want you to dig deep into this because this is music, AI, technology, which you have been a big part of. Do you think if Tupac were alive, would he have minded this?
No.
Interesting. Why?
Because the majority of hip hop for its entire history is predicated on sampling and using other people's recordings and using other people's music. It is about taking things that exist and making it your own. It was also not a public release where it was going on an album. This was just a back and forth mixtape diss track, which there's a long history of this. If you really go back into the history of hip hop and start digging into the mixtape history, which is effectively what this is, except for it was just put on YouTube, that's all this really was. To me, as soon as I read this and everyone's like, oh, Tupac's estate is suing, they didn't sue. They sent a cease and desist. And it should be said, it was taken down.
It was taken down, yeah.
Drake did take it down. Now, on the other hand, I'm not giving Drake a pass here because he got all uppity about a year ago when AI music came out sounding like him. So for this to of all of the artists to do this, he was probably the wrong one to get away with this.
Yeah.
And I found it very strange that he used Snoop Dogg. That dude's around. He's here.
Yeah.
That was strange.
He would know, right?
Yeah.
He would hear about it. Which was the funny reaction on Instagram. He was like, wait, what?
That was always, the whole thing was it was a very weird moment in hip hop history. It will definitely continue to be something that people reference in the music industry. But let's be real, estates have lawyers. Estates pretty much are run by lawyers, and lawyers send cease and desist and sue people. So there's no surprise that this happened. Do I think Tupac would have done anything? No, I really don't. I don't think I think the reaction would have been exactly like Snoop Dogg's of this is some silly nonsense. This is just back and forth publicity beef. let it be what it's going to be. Now, I did find it strange that they call out Taylor Swift in it. Taylor is not in it by vocal, but is like mentioned in it, which is super odd because she's got her own problems with AI, like in like deepfakes, right? So like that was kind of strange. Like, I'm not going to say it was in the best taste or it was even that good, I'll be honest, but it did sound like Tupac. It definitely sounds like Snoop Dogg. It was an interesting moment, but no, it's mixtape beef. Like, that's what this is.
Well, that's a great way to move into the next piece of news because it's related to voice cloning, right? And using someone's voice.
Now, this is terrifying.
This is terrifying. And we're sharing this one because I feel like parents, especially like a lot of the people that listen to this and have parents or people that have kids in their lives, just need to know what's going on. So, and this is from Baltimore. A gym teacher was accused of using AI voice clones or an AI voice clone to try to get a high school principal fired. So this former PE teacher, now former, right, used Gen AI to fake a racist rant that sounded just like the Pikeville High School principal that he was trying to get fired.
And that principal did get suspended temporarily.
Yeah, he did. He did get suspended after the thing. But so this PE teacher used school computers to access OpenAI, Microsoft Bing services, apparently. And experts told the Baltimore Banner, the newspaper there, and police that the recording, which did cause the suspension of this principal, had a flat tone, unusually clean background sound, and lack of consistent breathing sounds or pauses, which was a telltale that it wasn't like a real human necessarily. But I mean, we're getting close. We're getting very close. But the fact that the principal got suspended, then, this was analyzed and found that, he never said these things. The PE teacher's out. Like, first of all, I don't know what the beef was between the PE teacher and the high school principal, but like, this is going an extra mile, but crazy.
You know what stands out to me in this? I'm going to get angry stuff for this.
Well, your parents are teachers, so I'm sure you're like...
My parents are teachers, but this is I'm actually surprised it was the PE teacher. When I was in high school, my PE teacher could not use a computer. That was the most techno-inefficient person at the entire school. Was the PE teacher. So what has changed that the PE teacher not only knows how to use AI to do this, but does it from the school and somehow gets around all of the AI barriers that are built in. So
all the firewalls, yeah.
Well, not just the firewalls, but the AI itself has like built in of, I can't say that. I can't use these words. I can't use this type of language. How did he get around all like that? Blew my mind. The PE teacher.
Maybe he used a different service. Like, I don't even know. Like, I mentioned what the newspaper said they might have used. So
yeah, they never said what service he used, but like, how did the PE teacher?
He allegedly used those tools. We don't know. We cannot confirm that it were those tools. So it could have been a different tool. But yeah, it's crazy. Watch out for those PE teachers, I guess.
Oh, man. Well, really, the thing that scares me is like student revenge. People don't talk about it a lot because it doesn't happen that often, but it's not entirely unheard of like a student gets mad at a teacher, has an idea, pulls something off like this, or vice versa. There's some teachers out there who just don't like a couple of their students. This could go in any which way.
Any direction here. Oh my goodness. So yeah, we found that interesting. We had to share it on the pod.
What's scary is the only reason that they were able to, you mentioned this, is because there were experts who caught like breathing pattern problems, the fact that the audio was too clean. As the AI gets better and gets harder to trace, like how would they, like we're going to have to up our forensics on this type of data because...
A whole new level of CSI. I mean, I can see the TV show.
Yeah.
CSI, Deepfake. Like, I don't know. I can see that coming. So yeah, I mean, very interesting story. Parents out there, people that have kids in your lives, just be aware of some of the things that are happening, both with teachers and also students.
Just don't know anymore.
Yeah, it's crazy time. So let's go on break. And we don't have any expert interview this week, but we'll go on break. And then when we get back, we'll be talking more about gaming. We're going to be talking about Discord. Then we are going to be talking about the battle of the headsets, some of the things happening with Apple, Meta, and some of the other companies. So yeah, let's go on.
This message is brought to you by Warner Brothers Discovery Advertising. And this is more than an ad. This is an invitation to be part of the stories the world can't stop watching. To connect with moments that dominate the conversation, to participate in culture, not just advertise around it. With the most sought-after IP, passionate audiences, and an advanced AI-powered foundation, WBD advertising transforms attention into influence and impressions into outcomes. This is innovation. This is impact. This is opportunity. This is Warner Brothers Discovery Advertising. Visit advertising.wbd.com to learn more.
Blowing ad budget on metrics that look great till the CFO sees them? That's bull spend. And marketers are calling it out in Dashboard Confessions.
I remember telling my boss, it'll be good for the brand, when leads were slow. Yeah, it wasn't.
Cut the bull spend. LinkedIn lets you target by company, job title, and more. Advertise on LinkedIn. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a $250 credit. Go to linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Business is booming. But you know what really helped? Xero, the accounting platform for small businesses. I used to think unpaid bills were just part of it. Ugh. But batch payments? Wow. Automated accounts payable? Even better. All in one place. That's a big one. And I can keep track from my phone while I get the job done. No bills in sight. What a life. Do right by yourself and your business and search XERO for your free trial. Conditions apply.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Break. All right, Lee. So I know you are like a super Discord, like a super user for Discord. Like
I love Discord.
Yeah, I'm on it too, but I'm not as active. Like I'll go in there if I need to for some reason or another to communicate with certain groups I'm a part of. But I'm not in there all the time. You are a super user, but I want to talk a little bit about Discord. Their CEO, Jason Citron, did an interview where he talked about why gaming and group chats are the future of the internet. He talked about communities. He talked a lot about the gamers, also the games that are being created inside Discord, which I found really interesting. But this is like around the future of how people are going to engage, communicate, socialize, as the internet continues to change and evolve. And you're a super user. So what are your thoughts around this?
Well, it was as enterprise discovered the power of Zoom during COVID. I feel like the gamer generation really discovered the power of Discord. And people who joined Discord to talk about and play and stream video games have other interests. And then they realize, I can create my own servers and we'll make these servers that are based around these very specific interests. It gets into a niche territory of community, and it is a community building tool. I will say the things that Discord's really good at are rarely actually used in a lot of this. So in the sense of their video and voice, which is what was originally what set them apart, because if you were gaming with your friends, you could do voice calls and they were really streamlined and sound good. All of that's still there, and it's still used for like gaming groups who go on want to play multiplayer games. But I manage a handful of very just like niche Discord servers about topics that most people you would think don't care about. And then all of a sudden you realize like, this server's got like 2,000-3,000 people in it.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what it is? It's replacing the online forum.
Yes.
As forums are dying, and the new generation is not wanting to go and deal with posts and it is a very like archaic form of the internet at this point. It just is. It allows for that same amount of community and communication, but in real time. And it is the next generation of the online forum.
And definitely a lot of kids are on, Discord, and they have their own servers and even Walmart, Louis Vuitton, like anyone that's doing like things in gaming has their own Discord server. It is niche, but it's also mainstream. I want people to understand that.
There's a Discord server for everything. Like everything. If you're into knitting and cross stitch, there's a Discord server for you, and there's a community that's actively on there talking about whatever people who cross-stitch and knit talk about. I have no idea. But,
I don't know either.
I'm a part of like a DJ Discord that's really popular. I run the Atari Discord, which is a thing.
Why am I not surprised that you do that?
Yeah, no one should be. If anyone who knows me knows, like, yeah, that makes sense. But a lot of stuff in like music production and things like that exists as well. But those are the things that I'm interested in. So it's what I go and find. Yeah, it's like little fan groups. I don't know how to explain it.
I wonder if there's like a wine Discord server.
Oh, guaranteed.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm really getting back into wine quite a bit and mezcal as well. So I'm going to see if there's a Discord server for wine and mezcal connoisseurs.
Almost, yeah, absolutely. Especially for like game developers and people who are into tech, it's really big, but it's starting to cross over into things like just lifestyle stuff.
Well, fashion, there's definitely fashion stuff, fashion tech stuff, because I got more into it because of the fashion work I was doing. So interesting. So yeah, just keep your eyes on Discord and what they're doing. We are going to include a link to the interview that the CEO did, because to me, it was insightful for people that don't understand what's happening there. All right, moving on. Before we go to Dispatch from the Fringe, I definitely want to talk about, we're just gonna have a segment called Battle of the Headsets, or HMD Battle, or I don't remember, but we need to talk about this every week. Obviously, you and I are very, very much involved in the XR space and stuff, but lots of news, about Apple cutting Vision Pro shipments.
This is weird.
How do you really know? Like, I know this is an analyst saying those things, but how do you truly know? And then I don't think this is a big deal. Like, I really do not. This is not supposed to be a mass market product. The Apple Vision Pro, to me, has always been a prosumer/developer's kit. So I am not as concerned as some people that are like shouting and saying like, oh, it's dead. I'm like, no, like, I don't know.
No, it's not dead, but it was not a death shot that I think people thought it was going to be for Meta. And I said this, don't compare the two headsets. They're completely different. They have completely different users. They're after completely different generations right now. I do think there were mistakes that were made on Apple's part. I can't give them full pass on it. There were things about this that even as a prosumer level, like, nope, this was probably not well done enough. Cutting numbers, if those numbers are being cut as they're being reported, kind of hints towards probably a lack of adoption from an enterprise. Although I've got people in the enterprise space who are utilizing them and they're creating, things for it. They've got to get a new iteration out before it becomes a mass adoption. It's got to be lighter. It's got to be a little bit cheaper.
Better content?
Well, they can't. The content's a whole other thing.
That's part I think. Okay, so I will say this. I will interject and say that I do think it is wise for Apple to rethink their strategy, in the sense that I personally believe they should create a developers fund of some sort, just like many other companies have done, to incentivize developers to have a reason to go and create more things, not just the PR pickup that from the beginning. So creating some type of developers fund. Yeah, rethinking the strategy. I think going towards enterprise, very smart move. I feel like that's what they're doing. That's one of the reasons I came to work at Magic Leap as an enterprise strategist, was to focus on enterprise. That's really where, for these types of headsets and devices, there's a huge market. So I'm all for rethinking the strategy. I also think, especially knowing that one of the people that was heading up Apple Vision Pro seems to be retiring, it would be a good idea for Apple to have their new spatial computing version of who Guy Kawasaki was. So
sure.
Everyone knows Guy Kawasaki, but just in case, if you don't, he was Apple's chief evangelist during the Macintosh. He was out there on every stage at every event, talking about the Macintosh, talking to developers, talking to businesses, and evangelizing the Macintosh. So huge. Obviously, now he has his remarkable podcast and his new book, and I'm a big fan of Guy. But he came from those days at Apple. I think Apple needs that right now, needs to rethink the strategy, needs someone or several people out there really hitting everything and evangelizing about what spatial computing is, not just the Vision Pro. So yeah, like those are three things I think they should do. Get someone out there, create a developer fund, and then, they need to rethink the strategy in some ways.
There's a couple of things that they could do.
We're giving free advice here to Apple, but hey.
They're not going to take any of my advice. Like, my advice is so anti-Apple, but it is what is bottlenecking them right now. There used to be a time where you could develop for Apple devices on a Windows machine. You cannot do this with the Apple Vision Pro. You cannot do this.
No.
And a lot of people would say, well, duh, of course not. It's Apple. That's how they work. And you're right. Like, that's where they've led to today. However, let's be very clear. Apple does not have a strong history in gaming. In fact, it's the one thing they genuinely suck at. They've done really well with mobile gaming, but this is not a mobile device. So they've just never been able to adopt the gaming persona that they want, no matter how much they've wanted to. If you're a gamer, you're a PC gamer. PC won that with things like Steam. Like that's just the way it is. So you have a lot of talented game developers who don't have a history of developing for Apple's hardware, but they do have a history of developing for Unity. And so I think they kind of expected that, well, if we provide for Unity, we'll be able to do that. But it's really a hardware disconnect that they don't have. I still think to be able to test it properly and all that, I get why it has to be on Apple hardware. I'm not arguing that. But on some level, something has to kind of like give there. It's not going to happen. That's not ever going to happen. But it would help. The other thing is it seems like, and I've talked to a few developers about this, that to really truly access the horsepower in this headset takes a lower level access to the hardware in Unity that just does not currently exist. And that's a very Apple way of doing things. But when your hand tracking lags by milliseconds and you can't attach something to the hands and your main input is eyes and hands because you're not shipping with controllers, what are we doing here? And those are the things that I think are keeping people from fully developing their ideas out for the Apple Vision Pro.
Well, then that's why maybe creating that creator fund or developer fund
totally
would be a smart move. Like, I feel like a lot of the companies have done that to incentivize developers. Like, it'd be welcome.
One of the smartest things that Meta did was buying the studio that made Beat Saber.
Yes.
That was brilliant. They did the same thing with Population One. Like, they found the games that were really popular. They said, yep, we're going to peel you off money and now you belong to us because we want to retain you. You're going to be the thing that they're collecting killer apps. Apple Vision Pro has no killer app. None. And that's weird for Apple. Most of their devices always have had something that was like, oh, this will change my life.
They've got an event coming up in May, early May. I think it's May 7th, if I'm not wrong. But, maybe they'll make some interesting announcements. I mean, I heard something about maybe the Apple Pencil coming to Vision Pro.
I think they're going to make a lot of really interesting announcements. I think Google's right around the corner as well. And it's all going to be about AI. I really do.
Well, it's definitely going to be AI, but I think the May 7th thing, it's going to be AI, but definitely like new iPads, I think. But I hope that they will talk something about the Vision Pro. So
yeah,
we'll have to see. And I do want to kind of talk a little bit about Meta, because I think that this was a really interesting piece of information you shared with us on our Slack channel last week. And because the earnings calls just happened. Meta saw a 30% quarterly VR revenue growth for Q1 2024. Like, huge. I mean, I know that doesn't sound like a lot to people, and like they're always thinking about how much money they're spending in reality labs, but this is a good sign for immersive, for headsets, for spatial. Like, this is a good thing. So yeah, thanks for sharing that. Like, anything you want to add?
They're going after creating the user base. And a lot of people can ignore it and say, none of my neighbors use VR. I bought VR and it sits on my headset. I hear that all the time, but I'm sitting here going, yeah, but what about their kids?
Yep.
Right? Because I heard the exact same thing about Nintendo when I was a kid. People forget that, like, when the video game console wars really started, a lot of adults were like, oh, I bought one and then it just collected dust. But if you had kids, that thing did not collect dust. And that was when the video game consoles were trying to figure out who their demographic was, right? Going back to like the Atari. That thing shipped and it didn't have a demographic. There was no such thing as a gamer back then. They were aimed towards kids, but they were aimed towards adults. They were aimed towards doing your homework. There was a math game. Like, it wasn't even a game. It was just a calculator, right? Still something that I find interesting, that they just didn't have one of those targets. I think VR is in the same spot, except for Meta's going, okay, learn from history. Our mass adoption are not necessarily people who are buying it with their own money. It's the kids who are playing it, and they'll grow up with it. And there's a reason why they took the Quest 2 and they actually dropped it down to $200. You can get a Quest 2 for $200. That's still a really amazing piece of hardware for $200.
For $200, yeah. I agree with you.
$200. It's incredible. Have they broken into the Pro market like I think they want to? No. Pro 2, I think, is right around the corner, and we'll hear some amazing things, and maybe it'll be better. It's growing.
Meta continues to innovate in the hardware side.
They do.
Like, I will give them major props. So this is actually from today. Meta and Ray-Ban have released a limited edition Ferrari smart glasses. Zuckerberg, Mark was talking last week about their Meta Ray-Bans that are now multimodal. So, you can, use it, you can ask AI more and more things. It's
in this is where I think devices like the Humane Pin and the Rabbit one are just screwed. The second that level of computation is somehow tethered to your glasses, it's game over, right? Like,
well, because it's convenience, communication, and computation all in one device. And you can, I agree with you.
It's just going to be completely different in a couple of years.
Well, I think we're going to continue to see AI infused, AI driven hardware, like the Meta glasses.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Apple Vision Pro to me is AI hardware. It's part of spatial computing, obviously, but I think we're going to continue to see that. I mean, and then you've got Google, their fastest growing moonshot in Google X. It was called Project Wolverine, has been spun off into a startup called IO, who, get this, is working on an AI-powered hearing device, so earbuds, and they're going to ship the first product this year. So we're going to continue to see, once again, like you and I have predicted and said, a Cambrian explosion of new AI-driven hardware, whether it's, earbuds or whether it is glasses, headsets, whatever it is, or pins, AI infused into every device and new form factors, right? So we're going to continue to see that, the AI wearable war, I don't even know what to call it, but wearable world. So yeah, I mean, we're going to continue to see this, and whether they get good reviews or not, we'll have to see.
The earbud thing, I think, is very interesting. It's something that I was talking to a doctor a couple of years ago, and a hearing doctor. And this kind of goes back to something you and I have discussed many times of like, I think the best AI is the thing that figures out how to do a thing very well, and that's all it does. And it uses its like power to filter, right? We talked about like having microphones that filter out noise and things like that. While like we still have technology that does that, for it to be even better and more improved because it's being powered by something that's a little bit more intelligent is amazing. And I just think that, and no one really talks about it, but I honestly think that like the hearing aid market is set for disruption when it comes to like AI, because the hearing aid market is horrible. Like if you have anyone who's a family member who's like losing hearing and is looking for hearing aids, that is like this weird technology that seems stuck in the Stone Age and just doesn't seem to be leveraging a lot of the technology that it should be able to do. Yes, some of it connects to apps and some of it does X, Y, and Z, but we're talking about like hearing aids are like $5,000. They're super expensive. The $5,000 isn't that much better than the $1,000. Like, as I talked to this doctor, one of his hopes was that a company like Google will one day figure this out and be able to just completely disrupt the market.
Yeah.
Kind of like what Warby Parker did for like eyeglasses. Remember when like glasses were always just like, oh, this is $300 and everyone just accepted it. And now
I don't even think about it anymore.
You don't even think about
100%.
like a decade ago, glasses were like $300 and that's just the way it was. And then someone showed up and said, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to go in a different way. Or like Invisalign or whatever, those are the areas where I really get excited to see technology, for lack of a better word, it's my least favorite word, but disrupt, because they really do take something that is just kind of life and mundane and things that you just accept. And so, no, maybe there's a better way. And I'm really hoping things like this announcement push situations for like hearing impaired or like multi-language. Like there's a lot of things that this technology can do.
Well, and I think we're going to continue to see like maybe the Googles with these moonshots. We're also going to see startups doing many interesting things. So let's definitely keep our eyes out for this. The AI wearable or AI hardware wars are just getting started. Like this is going to be an interesting couple of years for sure when it comes to hardware. Okay, Lee. So I think we're getting towards the end of the show. I don't know if we're ready for this dispatch from the fringe.
I found this one. This one's my fault.
You found this one. You sent it to Lily,
Yeah,
and Lily was like, I'm doing this one. I don't even want to introduce it. I'm going to let Lily talk about it because it's like super strange. So Lily, take it away.
Hello, Cathy and Lee. Welcome to this week's Dispatch from the Fringe. As you may know from listening to this podcast, we talk a lot about AI and all the cool things that artificial intelligence can do in the workplace and our personal lives. But there are still a few kinks to work out. Some chatbots have gotten companies into trouble, and it looks like the Catholic.com chatbot is another one to add to the list. The Catholic group defrocks AI priest after it gave strange answers in this article from Futurism.com. A Catholic advocacy group called Catholic Answers released an AI priest, a chatbot, called Father Justin. But they quickly had to change it because Father Justin said that he was a real priest. He offered people sacraments, and that did not go over well with much of the Catholic community that interacted with him. He was deployed in good faith to answer questions about Catholicism and the Catholic faith, but Father Justin went a little rogue, and the group changed Father Justin to now be just Justin. He went from wearing a priest's outfit to a business casual look, and is now just a layman to talk about Catholicism and the faith. So when designing your chatbot, keep in mind how people are going to interact with it, what kind of questions they'll ask, and how you want your chatbot to respond. Hopefully, everyone likes new just Justin, and they're able to not embarrass themselves anymore. And that is this week's Dispatch from the Fringe. Thanks for listening in.
All right. I grew up Catholic, so I'm
Go and sim no more.
Go and sim no more. I'm
Sim
no more. Go and sim no more. Oh, brilliant. I grew up Catholic, so yeah, I don't even know how to react to this one. Especially my youngest daughter is about to do her first communion, and we're taking her to confession. So yeah, I'm just like, oh, interesting.
I just love
sim no more.
They didn't actually scrap the entire project. They just turned him into a regular chatbot and called him
Not
Justin. Yeah, and he's not a priest anymore, and put him in a regular suit and tie. Same avatar, same backdrop. They're just like, okay, we're gonna take the collar off, and you're no longer a priest.
How did they not think this through? They could have been a deacon or something. Well, deacons can still do a lot of things, but I don't know. AI priest, goodness, yeah, so many things.
How fun is that? It was the quotes that the AI gave that were just woof.
Oh my gosh. Well, I wonder what the Pope's going to say about this, but we'll have to wait. We'll have to wait and see. Anyway, on that note, thanks for joining me, Lee.
Every time.
Well, thanks everyone for joining Tech Magic. Come for the tech, stay for the magic. We love it when you join us every week. We hope to bring you more and more tech, gaming, innovation news. So yeah.
Are your ad campaigns lighting up the dashboard, but not the pipeline? That's bull spend. And marketers are calling it out in Dashboard Confessions.
My boss asked for results, so I opened my dashboard for the only positive sounding metric I had: impressions.
Cut the bull spend. See revenue, not just reach. LinkedIn delivers the highest return on ad spend of major ad networks. Advertise on LinkedIn. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a $250 credit. Go to linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Business is booming. But you know what really helped? Xero, the accounting platform for small businesses. I used to think spreadsheets were just part of it. Ugh. But real-time cash flow? Wow. Invoices that chase themselves? Even better. Books that automate? That's a big one. And I can keep track from my phone while I get the job done. No spreadsheet in sight. What a life. Do right by yourself and your business and search XERO for your free trial. Conditions apply. Business is booming. But you know what really helped? Xero, the accounting platform for small businesses. I used to think unpaid bills were just part of it. Ugh. But batch payments? Wow. Automated accounts payable? Even better. All in one place. That's a big one. And I can keep track from my phone while I get the job done. No bills in sight. What a life. Do right by yourself and your business and search XERO for your free trial. Conditions apply.
Feel free to subscribe, review the podcast, share it with people that you think might find it interesting, and send us your comments. Please email us and tell us how things might be going, or if you have any interesting questions you want us to tackle, we're here for that. So thank you so much for listening to Tech Magic.